So we're going to do the ultimate test here. We have the power strip, which these are 10 watts each. We're going to unplug this. This is a GoPro cable. So we'll test that too. This came like GoPro. We have the anker, which this gets consistent 12 watts plugged into the outlet. We have my USB-C cable, cable my phone, that's plugged into a basic Amazon brick, which I believe this is like 0.5 amps or something. Let's see. Really blind, so give me a second. It is input output. I can't see. Why do they make it so small? Let's go to the light plug in because this is way too small. Output is 1 amp. So this is a 1 amp brick. So we can see that one, which I just plugged it in and it's putting out 3 watts, but just to verify, the anker is plugged in right now. It's pulling 12 watts. So plug the anker, it's 12 watts. Unplug that. We will plug this into the brick. See what this is pulling. And you might lose some. This USB port's probably be faster than that, but we'll see what this is pulling. Two watts, 3 watts. 0. It goes back on, off, on, off. Why is it doing output? That's weird. It freaks out a little bit. So it does not like this at all. It will charge it because it was at like 60, 50 something yesterday, but that's 3 watts. So now let's try this without the brick. Because these USB ports I know are 10 watts and 2.1 amps. So this should be faster than 3 watts. In theory. Okay, that one's working better. It's not freaking out. Just kidding. So it's still saying 3 watts. It's still freaking out. So that's proof right there that jackery is not like it's supposed to. Because it won't get over 3 watts. And that's 2 different plugs. And this is 10 watt, 2.1 amp. And this is 1 amp. 1 amp compared to 2.1, it's still showing the same thing. Okay, now let's do the ultimate test. We will plug in the anker one, which we will see this anker. I know this anker should be putting out more watts anyway. So if it doesn't, then we know the jackery is just F for sure, because these all 3 would not put out 3 watts. I'm sorry. By the way, if you want these anker cables, they're like 2 for $20 on Amazon. Super nice. So here we go, plug in this one. This one's going to say 3 watts, 2 watts. Yep, same thing, look. On, off, 3 watts. So we just proved all different theories, and it does the same thing. That's how you know the jackery is a bust, because that's supposed to be 60 watt in and out. I just did 2 different watts right there, and the only one that was different was the anker one. That was plugged into an outlet, actual AC outlet, but it doesn't matter. These are 10 watts. It should be getting more than 3. So now let's do the GoPro one, which the GoPro one does the same thing, but just to prove it to you guys, we'll unplug both. Get out of here. Get out of here. You get out of there. And this is just weird. You know, there should be different watts for different things, but apparently it does not like when you plug into USB-A. Here's the GoPro one, same issue. GoPro one does nothing. It's literally nothing. So if you have a GoPro cable and you try to charge your jackery with it, nothing. So this jackery is not the smartest thing in the world, because there's USB-C cable, nothing. And this GoPro cable looks better than this cable. This is literally crappy LG phone cable. Still the same issue. And the GoPro one, nothing. I'll try and switch ports. We go around, nothing. Switch ports, nothing. Well, so there you have it. It will get close to 16 with the anker plugged into an outlet, But if you try and charge your jackery with the USB, it does not like it, and this GoPro cable doesn't even want to fit in. Okay, so we got it to fit in now. But it's still the same thing, 3 watts. 3 watts. It turns on and off a couple times, it just says 3 watts. So despite, no matter what cable you use, it still does 3 watts. And these are 10-watt ports. And I literally just put in a 1 amp one, and a 2.1 amp one, and it literally shows the same thing on here. So that's crazy. So despite saying input and output, it doesn't really work like it's supposed to. Because obviously this is a higher wattage cable than any other ones I use right now. So it should be at least pulling more watts because it's 10 watts. No matter which one I've used, they're all 3, which doesn't make sense because this is 1 amp plugged into the AC one. So before you buy a jackery, hope you're watching this video because I just tested 2 USB-A to USB-C cables and 1 USB-C to USB-C cable. And the only way it made a difference is if it was plugged into an outlet and it was with the Anker, which is 16 watts. But if these are 10 watts, it doesn't make any sense. It should be getting close to 10. That was getting 12. These were getting 3. And these are 10 watts if you look them up online. So cool. 3 watts. And it's crazy because this thing is like the basic plug you get from Amazon. And it's 1 amp. If you can see it, it says Amazon on there. This is only a 1 amp charger. It's just a basic Amazon brick. And it still said 3 watts on the jackery. So you're telling me this is not 2.1 amp. This is 1 amp. And the jackery still is on 3. And I plug in here, which is 2.1 amp and 10 watts. And it's still showing 3 watts on there. So, I don't know. Either the whatever display thing is wrong, or just the jackery is really screwed up and just doesn't do what it's supposed to. So, and that's the reason I got this one, is because I was like, oh, cool, in and out 60 watts. So I can charge it faster with my Anker. I can charge it faster with whatever I have. Well, it turns out that's not the case. So, there you have it. It's now at 92%, but since my phone's pretty charged, let me just use this one, because at least this one plugs in 12 watts. So that's the only useful way to plug your jackery via the USB-C, is see if you have like a faster Anker brick. Does not work, despite saying in and out. Does not work with these separate USB things. You kind of have to use a brick with it, which just kind of defeats the whole purpose of being simple and easy. Because if they said, oh, you can use a brick and it's still blah, 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 whatever, but that don't make sense either, because no matter what cable I used both of these, they're still showing 3 watts. So it still doesn't make sense, because they would show different watts, because that's 1 amp, and this is 2.1 amp. This is 10 watts. I don't know how many watts this is. Probably not very much. I don't know, I can't read the thing in there. You had to look up whatever 1 amp is for watts. Not very much, but the fact that this thing was showing 3 watts too was kind of ridiculous. Yeah, it's 1 amp, and then that's just ridiculous. I mean, so it literally didn't make a difference if I brought in a faster, heavier duty cable, because the jackery just doesn't work right. It just says 3 watts, 3 watts, 3 watts, no matter what you do. So, unless you have an Anker to charge your jackery with, like an actual Anker brick, then you're useless. Then it doesn't do what it's supposed to.